Ladies and gentlemen, have I got some interesting news for all of you. I saw this. This is old news by now, but I don't know how many of us are paying attention to what the Indianapolis Colts are doing. And just recently, we're going to go through this article a little bit and we're going to talk about why this could drastically, completely change the draft for the Detroit Lions. This is nuts. All right. And the Indianapolis Colts have made their decision at quarterback on who they like, and it got leaked. Again, grain of salt. I'll explain the grain of salt in a minute, but here it is. Colts reportedly decide on a QB with the 4th overall pick. This is from StampedeBlue.com. This is their, like, we always look at Pride of Detroit here. This is their, it's SB Nation. We're just 2 weeks until the draft. The Indianapolis Colts have reportedly decided on which quarterback they plan to select 4th overall. And it is Will Levis. What? Like, everything since Pro Day has been Richardson. But the Colts still like Levis. And it says Matt Miller of ESPN reported that the Colts will select Will Levis with the 4th overall pick if it comes down between him and Anthony Richardson. In other words, they'd probably still take Bryce Young. They'd probably still take CJ Stroud, as they should, unless they're absolutely insane. But they're saying that they want Will Levis. The Colts, need a day one starter from this rookie class 2, and Levis is currently ahead of Anthony Richards for Indy, according to sources close to the team, because he's more likely to be able to play right away. Okay, let's get in a time capsule and let's go back before Anthony Richardson just went nuts. Dude just went nuts at the combine. Will Levis was being mocked to the Colts by almost everybody. That's who it was, because Will Levis fit the profile of what the Colts have traditionally liked in a quarterback. Will Levis is the closest looking thing to Andrew Luck since Andrew Luck. I'm not saying that he's as good as Andrew Luck. I'm not saying he has the IQ of Andrew Luck. I'm not saying he's as unique as Andrew Luck. By the way, Luck is a really good podcast. If you haven't heard it, I think it's through The Athletic. It was really good. But Will Levis was the guy. And then Anthony Richardson went off. And it's like all of a sudden we forgot that the guy never threw for more than 250 yards in a game. And we forgot that his teams were not good. And we forgot that Will Levis as a junior or sophomore, but a year ago, not this past year, but the year before that, went off when he actually had weapons around him at Kentucky. And that Kentucky was a better team than Florida ever was under Richardson. And we forget all these things. And it's just, oh, Richardson to the Colts at 4. Richardson to the Colts at 4. Everybody and their sister and their mother and their brother picked Richardson to the Colts. But here's why. Because a lot of people like Richardson. So what's the play here? Are the Colts trying to get other teams to like Will Levis? Are they trying to get, if somebody trades up ahead of them, are they trying to get somebody to take Levis because they secretly like Richardson? Or do they really like Will Levis? Is he the guy? Because if they really like Will Levis, there's a world, and this is how it completely changes things for the Detroit Lions. If they like Levis, here are the things that can happen. The Cardinals, somebody can trade up to get Richardson at 3. The Colts can go Levis, which means Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are still sitting there at 5. And there's absolutely a world based on the scheme and what they like to do that Jalen Carter is a better fit in Seattle than Will Anderson. There is a world, it's not likely, I'm going to give it like 9%, not heavy, all right, that Will Anderson could fall to us. There is a world in which that happens. I still think there's a world in which the Texans fall in love with Anthony Richardson. I think there's a world in which that happens as well, and we can trade to 3 to do this. There's now also a world, are you ready for this one, where the Texans, knowing that the Colts are going Will Levis, are more willing to trade back to 6 with us, and we can get in on CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. it completely changes everything. But here is the final kind of point that I'm going to make, and then I'll re-talk about all of them. It can, more than anything, increase the chances that Jalen Carter or Will Anderson or a quarterback, Anthony Richardson, it can greatly increase the chances that Anthony Richardson is still available at number 6 for the Detroit Lions. And before you turn this video off, I don't mean for us to draft him. I mean for us to trade back and get even more capital. That's what I'm talking about. Full transparency here. All right. As we're recording, my quarterback rankings are Bryce Young 1, CJ Stroud 2, and it's close. 1, 2 are close. Then it's back. Will Levis is my 3. Back. Anthony Richardson. I actually would, if I were the GM, thank goodness I'm not, you're saying. I get it. I would go Will Levis for our system ahead of Anthony Richardson, because Ben Johnson has shown if he just has a quarterback that can be accurate, it is going to work well. And the more accurate, the better deep ball, all that kind of stuff. So actually, now that I say this, I think I might put Stroud at 1 and Young at 2 for our team, our offense. But if it's just drafting a straight quarterback, and what I've learned is I've watched NFL draft after NFL draft, and you see booms and you see busts and you see all these different things in the draft. What I've learned more than anything else, more so sometimes even than talent, it matters, does the player fit the style, the scheme, and the culture of the team? And that's why you see a guy like Will Levis being told that I think the Colts are going to take him. And that's why I think CJ Stroud could work in Detroit, even though I think Bryce Young is the better overall quarterback. I think CJ Stroud might be as good here. It's just nuts to think about. But there is a world in which Anthony Richardson is sitting there at number 6, and we've got a decision to make. Do we draft Richardson? Do we draft him? Or do we trade back? Because somebody's going to want that pick. Somebody's going to want that pick because they're going to be convinced that the Raiders are going to take him at 7. But also, there's a world in which Richardson goes at 5. There is a world. And I don't know, like, you never know who's available. World's greatest gift is if Will Anderson falls to the Detroit Lions at pick number 6. How amazing would that be? Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this. I thought it could completely change our draft, and it just proves more and more as we get closer to the draft that we have no clue what's going to happen, and I'm so excited. And how nice is it when you don't know what's going to happen to have someone you trust making the pick? It's a good time to be a Lions fan. All right, we'll see you at the next one. Make sure you watch the draft with us on the 27th. We're going to be live streaming the draft. Join us here at Sports Talk Detroit. Hit a comment below and hit that subscribe button when you're on your way.